Yeah, get comfortable.
I'm comfortable.
Oh, all right then. You seem very grumpy about that.
No, I'm very comfortable.
Don't touch me.
What?
Don't put your vile hands
What are
upon
you
me.
talking about?
Do not place your disease-ridden
I did not. I just said I'm comfortable.
upon my person. So, have you got a character name or anything in mind?
Oh, okay. No, I haven't, but I can come up with one.
Yeah, can you do it now?
Yeah, I'm gonna come up with Bob.
Bob
Schmick.
Bob Schmick. Okay, and his lovely partner.
Ellie
Raspberry.
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 And Bob Schmick.
And what are they up to?
They're today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, I think last time I spoke to Bob,
Mm-hmm.
he said he was going to the park.
Mm-hmm.
With Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, so Bob and Ellie did go to the park and they sat on a bench and they fed the birds. And as they were throwing bread to the pigeons, and there was another pigeon sort of up the hill a bit, eating a corpse, you know how it is.
Eating a corpse?
Yeah.
In the park?
Yeah.
And Bob and Ellie obviously screamed and called the police, ran around saying there's a dead body, everyone, help.
No, I mean generally it's frowned upon, but it was just, you know, the person was old.
Frowned upon?
Yeah.
What corpses?
Death, you know.
Okay.
But it was an old person and they had decided that they couldn't be bothered anymore.
So it was a suicide?
No. They just, it was time, you know.
Okay.
It was just time, and they thought, well, you know, it's a lovely park. This is a nice sort of final thing.
This isn't our world, so old people can just decide when
you
to
struggle
go.
with that, don't you?
It's not suicide, but they can just decide. Enough.
They can't just decide. No, it is literally the point in which, like, that's it. That's the end.
Oh, so the person had died.
Yeah.
Naturally died.
Died
of natural causes.
Yes, absolutely.
And a bird is feeding on the corpse.
Yeah.
And Bob and Ellie are feeding birds themselves with bread.
Yeah. And they're trying to distract the birds away from the corpse because they think that it's probably not a very nice thing for people to see when they're out going for a walk. They'd probably prefer to see birds eating bread.
Right, so they decide to lure the birds away from the corpse.
Yes, so as not to upset too many other people.
Of course, the logic is...
Yeah, it's faultless. Obviously.
Yeah.
As it always is.
Yeah.
So they're feeding the birds, and one of the birds says to Bob, I heard that you were looking for a good restaurant. Do you fancy going to see what this restaurant is all about? Because this is the pigeon's new job.
Okay, so...
The pigeon's new job is one of the, you know, the sign people.
Right, they spin the signs round in front of things in America, or...
Yeah, I mean, but they do it here, but they just don't spin it round. They just stand there looking very, very bored, which I imagine they are.
Right, so basically the pigeon is trying to promote a...
That was a dog that sounds like a pig, by the way.
So the pigeon's trying to basically promote a restaurant for the restaurant, and he says, Bob, ignore the corpse. Don't let that put you off your dinner.
Don't worry about it. Just don't.
Yeah. Don't let that put you off. I work for... What's the restaurant called?
Miffy's.
I work for Miffy's. It's a lovely place. Do you fancy going with him? Is he asking him to go with him, accompany him to Miffy's, or is he just saying...
No.
Is he just trying to sell him...
He's just got to tell him about Miffy's.
Okay, yeah. So he says, do you fancy going to Miffy's?
Job. Yeah. There's this great new restaurant. It's got all the latest, you know, things you'd never dreamed of. You should try. Like weird foods from different dimensions and stuff.
Wow, okay. Okay.
So Bob really likes trying new things. Ellie, kind of does. She's not as into it, but she'll do it because Bob wants to do it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't mind doing it,
Yeah.
If she really didn't want to, she wouldn't.
Yeah. Are you basing this on personal experience?
I don't know what you mean.
I think I know who Bob is, and I think I know who Ellie is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so they find Miffy's, and it's down this back alley, and that's the thing of it, It's cool to be down a back alley where there's lots of people that have dropped dead of murder and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool to be down a back alley where people have dropped dead
of murder.
Dropped down dead of murder.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they find Miffy's, and it looks a bit like a dive bar.
Yeah. So
but that's its.
Yeah.
That's its thing.
That's its charm.
Yeah. That's its USB. P. Yeah. They go in. Bob says table for two, and the waiter says, certainly, come this way, and he slides across the floor.
Okay, in what way? Like a slug or like a dancer?
I was thinking quite slug-like.
Okay.
So he shows him to a back, because it's like a restaurant where you can order from any dimension.
Is it a bit like a speakeasy?
Yes, a little bit like a speakeasy.
Okay, yeah. It's a bit of a dive, a bit underground.
Yes.
But a bit classy, a bit shabby chic.
Yeah, although they don't have to pretend that it's actually something else. That's what a speakeasy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's a bowling alley. No, it's a speakeasy.
Yeah.
So they sit at the table, and the waiter says, I shall fetch you your menu. And he slides off again and returns.
Not sure about this waiter.
Returns with the menu.
Yeah.
And Bob looks over the menu, and what does he choose?
He chooses, without knowing what's on the menu, I can make up what's on the menu, can't I?
Yeah.
He chooses, I don't know, he chooses dim sum for starters from the paradox dimension.
Yeah.
He chooses a gourmet burger from the sixth dimension.
Yeah.
And then for dessert, he decides to go for a passion fruit cheesecake from the cheese dimension.
Okay. So what's gourmet about this burger from this other dimension?
It's just called a gourmet. Like, the thing is, like a lot of these restaurants, they call it a gourmet burger because it's just trendy too.
Okay, so
there's no difference.
It isn't
really.
Actually a gourmet burger.
No, it's usually quite too big to fit in your mouth.
Okay.
Usually, that makes it gourmet. Apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Just an observation of mine.
Yeah, and his wife Ellie, who nearly was called Ethel, but luckily she decided to stick with Ellie.
Yeah.
She considered being Ethel for a minute,
Did
she stuck with the old name. Yeah.
Right.
And what did she order?
She had.
She just has one meal.
Does she?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then she goes for a vegetarian turkey with potatoes and all the trimmings.
So this is definitely inspired by us, isn't it? Both of us have
I went with that, yeah. I did go with that.
The vegetarian, yeah. Okay.
But with a bit of a twist, because I quite like the idea of a vegetarian turkey.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a turkey.
Yeah.
Like a whole turkey comes out.
Yeah.
But it's vegetarian.
Yeah, so what happens then is the waiter returns with their...
Oh, and that's from the 9th dimension.
Okay, that was very important, yeah.
Yeah.
The waiter the waiter returns with their courses, and Bob has the first and the starter together, just to, so that Ellie doesn't have to wait.
Yes, I see, okay, yeah.
And Ellie has the turkey, which leaps up onto the table and says, "Hello, Ellie. I am your dinner." Very much like the one in Hitchhiker's Guide, which was like a pig human thing. And Ellie said, "I thought I was having the vegetarian turkey." And the turkey says, "I am vegetarian. If you pluck into my flesh, you will find the finest corn. And if you pluck out my eyeballs, you will sup upon delicate legumes."
Right.
And so she says, "All right then," and pulls off its head and starts munching.
Yeah.
And then the windows of the restaurant, a strange light glows through them, and the whole restaurant starts to shudder.
Right.
And
so what's this, like an earthquake?
Well, we'll see. And everyone in the restaurant, because it's very full, obviously, because it's very trendy, everyone stops eating, and some people laugh as if they know what's about to happen, and some other people kind of look at each other nervous and frightened. And then, out the window, Ellie sees this strange cauldron of weird liquids, and it's volcanic, and there are exploding lava, and the waiter comes over and says, "Yes, we've just entered the primordial soup."
Okay.
And we will be looking at the primordial soup whilst we enjoy our courses. Do have a wonderful time looking at how the earth began. So they watch all these weird, twisted lizard creatures kind of writhing in the fiery liquid. And
this cauldron is outside.
Well, it's not a cauldron. It's the primordial soup. It's like a vast sea of
outside the
boiling
restaurant.
Liquid. Outside the restaurant, yeah.
Yeah.
Inside the restaurant, they're fine. They're kind of floating over it.
Oh, okay, like a big restaurant boat.
Yeah, restaurant boat,
like
and
there's
exactly a cruise. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And there's lightning and thunder and snapping beasts, and Ellie pulls off a leg of the vegetarian turkey and chews on it while Bob eats his cheesecake.
Yeah.
And then Ellie is just about to say, "Oh, aren't we having a wonderful time?" when something smashes through the window.
Oh my god.
And eats Bob.
Oh my god.
She's devastated because she and Bob love each other and they've been together for many, many years. And this is not something she ever, considered planning for.
Yep.
And there's chaos, in the restaurant. There's a big creature that's now loose in the restaurant, and it looks like some kind of lizard fish type thing.
Yeah.
It's got arms and it's got huge teeth and it's got these demonic eyes, and it's chasing people around.
Yeah,
and
it's eating Bob, so we know it's carnivorous.
Yeah, and its tables are being pushed over, plates are being smashed, people are screaming.
Oh god.
And the waiters and they're they're trying to battle this thing. They're picking up chairs and picking up
this sounds like a blockbuster
forks.
Movie. Doesn't it? Like giant crocodile thing.
And all the while Ellie is thinking, that bloody thing, it's eaten my husband.
Yeah.
So she picks up the vegetarian turkey.
Yeah.
And swings it round and throws it, and it lands in the fish thing's gob.
Yeah.
And then it just explodes.
Why?
Because it does.
Right.
And everyone else is yeah. But then, mid-scream, which is part fear, part triumph, because she's, managed to take down this big thing.
Yeah.
She notices that Bob is sat next to her, and the place is smashed up, but mainly from people flailing about in fear.
Right.
And the waiters are trying to calm everybody down and, get them seated back and trying to wipe tears away with handkerchiefs and things like that. And Ellie says to Bob, "Oh my God, I thought you were gone."
Yeah.
And Bob said, "I don't know what happened. Like, I remember being in the belly of this thing, and one minute I was having a nice bit of cheesecake, and the next minute I was inside that, and then I was here." And the waiter had to go to the middle of the restaurant, to the bit where everybody could hear him, and said loudly, "Terribly sorry, everybody, but during your trip to the primordial soup, we tried to enhance the experience by placing a shred or two of Dimension 4 in everybody's food."
Yeah.
And the chef seems to have overestimated himself. Clearly he's been imbibing and thought everybody else could handle it, or we aren't really sure what happened.
Yeah.
But, there was no fish thing. There is the primordial soup, but these walls are impenetrable, so please feel free to continue your meal as you so wish.
Right.
So what do you think Bob and Ellie did then? Do you think they just carried on eating?
They finished their meal. Definitely finished their meal.
Yeah, they wouldn't want any more.
Any more food?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they would.
Okay.
Bob might have a beer.
Yeah.
And Ellie will probably have a cup of tea.
Okay.
And then they would probably leave Miffy's.
Yeah.
And maybe think about popping home, or maybe there's somewhere else they might go first.
Okay. So it's not particularly a situation that would leave them with any lasting trauma or fear. Or...
they'll talk about it for quite a while.
I imagine and I imagine it would be a conversation piece during dinner parties.
Yeah, definitely. They wouldn't think about that. Well, forget about that for a while.
Yeah, but I gave them something interesting to do that day, I suppose, as they walk past the corpse in the park.
Yeah, it's a weird world. The world's always odd. There's always things that surprise me, like how they treat corpses. The fact that birds talk.
Yeah.
I mean, them ones I kind of get.
Yeah.
Because they're so weird.
Yeah.
The ones that I don't get as much are the ones which are quite normal and realistic, but people don't treat it that way.
Yeah.
Like they just, there's a dead body, quite normal, but we're just gonna ignore it and just leave it there.
So that's the bit that you struggle with.
Yeah, because they seem decent people.
Yeah.
Yet they're not letting anyone know that an old person is lying on the floor, dead, being eaten by birds. They're quite fine with it.
That's just how things go, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, it was time. It was not a struggle,
Yeah. I mean, is that? Have we come to the end of your story there?
Yeah, I think that's probably
because I've got. I could try and do. I haven't planned anything.
Okay, go on.
I did say last time that I was coming to a story, so I thought I'd maybe give it a go.
Yeah.
So, pick a. Is this how it works now?
Yeah.
Is it pick a name?
Pick a name. Yeah. Okay. Jebble.
Jebble, and is that his first name?
Yeah, Jebble the Mighty.
Jebble the Mighty.
Yeah.
Or Jebble the Mighty.
Just Jebble.
Jebble the Mighty. So Jebble the Mighty is a schoolboy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's about 6 years old.
Yeah.
And he's called Jebble the Mighty.
Yes.
His parents are obviously weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they've called a 6-year-old boy, Jebble the Mighty.
Yeah.
And every day to school, he walks past this manhole.
Okay.
On the
Can I just point out to the listeners that you can hear a dog snoring if you listen carefully? There you go. Carry on.
So he sees this manhole, and there's something weird about it. He doesn't know what. It's pretty normal. It's like a normal manhole. But I think it's the sort of letters on manholes that you don't know what they mean because they're for the council.
Yeah.
So you might have some postcode or some sort of letters or something.
Okay.
He notices that it says Jebble on one of the manholes, and it's on his route to school. So he walks this route, and he always looks at his manhole and thinks it's funny that it says Jebble, but he never really is aware of it. He never tells anyone. He doesn't really give it much thought. He just notices it internally, and thinks it says Jebble, and then he just goes, "Oh, must just be one of the codes for one of the manhole covers."
Yeah.
Anyway, on his birthday, he walks to school, and the manhole cover is open. It's not there, and it's just a hole in the floor. So he goes to school, and everyone at school is behaving very odd, like they know something. And Jebble the Mighty is really confused, and he comes home. Manhole's still there, like uncovered. There's a hole there. He sort of looks over into it, thinks odd. Yeah. And comes over to his weird parents, who are even weirder.
Yeah.
Because they're a bit like in the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Where they're smiling and they're going.
Yeah.
Would you like?
How about
a vegetarian turkey?
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm not vegetarian. I'm Jebble the Mighty, Mum." And she says, "Oh yes. How about a meat turkey?" And he says, "You mean turkey?" And she says, "Yes, a turkey." And he he has turkey for dinner. The next day, anyway, he keeps going to school. He keeps saying this manhole's not been recovered. So he tells his mum, there's a manhole there, someone might fall down it, you better ring council, get covered up. And she says, "No dear, no, it doesn't matter, no, I'm not going to do that." So everything's going really weird, he's thinking. So one day he thinks, "I'm going to go down that manhole." So he goes to school, and he climbs down the manhole. Yeah. And then it's a film now, so it cuts. Okay. It's not a story anymore. We've gone visual. So imagine you're watching a film with this boy going down a manhole. Yeah. And then the screen goes black. Yeah. And it's the mum and the dad are looking through the newspaper, and it says. Poochie. It says. Poochie.
Sorry, I can't have the dog licking a area while you're trying to tell the story. Okay.
And she's looking through the newspaper, and it says. Jebble the Mighty, still missing. And then he walks through the door, and he's back.
Okay.
And everyone's really freaked out. They're like, "Why are you back? Like, we've been looking everywhere for you. Where have you been?" And he's like, "Can you sense I'm winging this?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of. And then he says, "Well, I've been in the manhole." And the mum says, "What manhole?" He says, "The one I told you about, that I told you to ring the council." She went, "That manhole has been dead for 50... What? What are you laughing? This is a scary bit. What are you laughing for? That manhole's been dead for 50... Shush, they can't hear me. Jebble the... What's his name? Jebble the Terrible?
Jebble the Mighty.
Jebble the Mighty. That manhole's been dead for... Stop laughing. That man has been dead for 50 years. And then he goes... And then the credits roll. And it plays that Jonathan Creek thing.
Or it turns into Too Many Cooks and just the end. The end.
No, your one does that.
Just warp and
your
warp
one does that.
Okay.
My one ends with, what is it called? The Jonathan Creek theme music.
The Dance Macabre.
Yeah, that ends with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we'll end it there.
Yeah.
On that note, so that was a jolly good time. Goodbye from the building.
Bye bye.